The first crack of gunfire split the late afternoon calm just as the old biker stepped into that rust-edged diner, sunlight blazing across his torn leather jacket like a final warning. For a moment, time seemed to hold its breath. The bikers outside were closing in, boots pounding pavement, chrome flashing under the sun. Inside, sitting at a metal table too shiny for a place so run down, a little girl looked up at him with a smile bright enough to shame the bullet holes forming in the walls behind him. And in that instant, before anyone could scream, before the next shot shattered the window, this man, who had lived his whole life behind a mask made of rage, engines, and scars, made a choice that set an entire block on fire. If you believe the world still has room for kindness, redemption, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly helps keep stories like this alive. He had once been known by names whispered across state lines, the kind people avoided saying too loud. But to the little girl who now watched him with wide, trusting eyes, he was simply Grandpa. For years he had stayed away from her, convinced the chaos of his life would spill onto hers like oil on clean pavement. Yet fate is strange. It doesn't knock, it kicks your door in. A call from his estranged daughter had brought him back. She needs someone. You're all she's got left. He didn't ask questions. He just rode. The diner was a meeting spot where the past had come hunting for him. The Hell's Angels crest on his jacket was more than cloth and thread. It was a debt ledger, a history written in bruises and burned rubber. The tear across the back wasn't just damage, it was a message. They wanted him back under their boot, and they weren't above using fear to drag him there. He tried to play it cool, tried to let the noise outside fade into the background while he focused on the only thing that mattered, the girl in front of him. Her small hands rested on the table, tapping. Nervously, though her smile stayed brave. She had his steel blue eyes, but none of the darkness behind them. She was hope, sitting in a sunbeam. But the moment he saw movement outside, the outline of men he once called brothers, he knew the past wasn't done. His granddaughter looked at him with an innocence he had never earned, and something inside him shifted. The life he had led was a wildfire, but she deserved calm skies. With shaking hands, he reached for the back of his jacket. He didn't say a word, no speeches, no confessions, just a quiet breath as he shrugged the leather off his shoulders. The weight of all those miles, all those bruised nights, hit the table with a soft thud that felt louder than the roaring engines outside. And then, in a gesture unheard of in the biker world, almost sacrilegious, he unstitched the patch that had defined him for decades and laid it gently in front of her. The world outside exploded. Engines roared, boots thundered, and suddenly, through shattered glass and flying debris, the truth became painfully clear. To leave the life, you didn't just walk away. You bled your way out. But something changed in him the moment that patch left his hands. He wasn't fighting for reputation now, or for dominance. He was fighting for the little girl who looked at him like he was a hero instead of a cautionary tale. While bullets ripped through the diner's peeling walls, he moved on instinct, shielding her with his body, taking blows meant for something he used to stand for. The bikers pounded toward the entrance, but he didn't rise to meet them with fists or fury. Instead, he lifted his granddaughter in his arms, running through the back door, kicking it open with a strength he didn't know he still had. He barreled into the alley, weaving through trash cans, broken crates, and fading sunlight while shouting for help that he prayed someone would hear. Yet even in that chaos, he felt strangely alive, like every second mattered in a way nothing ever. He had fought for territory, for pride, for orders barked by men who'd never carried the consequences. But this was different. This was a fight for family. The gang followed, their boots pounding the asphalt like war drums. But residents came pouring out of homes, stores, shadows, people who had seen the biker world tear up their streets for years. They weren't fighting for him, they were standing against the chaos. When neighbors formed a human barrier, shouting, throwing whatever they could grab, blocking the gang's advance, it was the first time he realized redemption doesn't always come alone, though it often begins that way. The police finally arrived, not fast enough to stop the chaos, but fast enough to keep it from turning into something far worse. The bikers roared away on their motorcycles, engines screaming with frustration, and the old man, bruised, cut, breathless, stood in the middle of a street he had once terrorized, holding the girl who made him want to be someone better. In the days that followed, everything changed. He turned in what needed turning in. He faced what needed facing. He built new bridges, slowly, painfully, but honestly. Some neighbors refused to trust him, some were cautious, but others saw the truth. A man who once lived behind a wall of violence was now trying to build something that didn't hurt anyone anymore. He started helping clean the diner he nearly died in. He patched holes, fixed windows, painted over rust. People saw him working from morning until night, refusing payment, refusing excuses. And his granddaughter? She was there the whole time, sitting on counters, handing him tools, smiling in that way that made even the harshest onlookers soften. And every evening, as the sun dipped low, he taught her something new, not about bikes or scars or survival, but about strength, kindness, loyalty, and how real courage sometimes means walking away from the life you thought you needed. Before we continue toward the emotional ending, if this story has pulled you in so far, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support truly keeps these stories alive. Months passed. Healing happened, not cleanly, not easily, but truthfully. And one late afternoon, under a sky glowing orange and gold, the same old man placed a small box into his granddaughter's hands. Inside wasn't the patch he'd laid down that day. It had been taken by police for evidence, but a simple silver locket with a tiny engraving, "New Roads Ahead." The girl opened it and smiled, and the man, once feared by entire blocks, felt something inside him finally settle. He had traded a legacy of violence for a legacy of love, and for the first time in his life, he was proud of what lay ahead. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it, and leave a comment. It means more than you know. Special request, comment "New Roads Ahead" if you believe in second chances.